Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Greetings and welcome to all those who are unseen, and all those who are seen but wish to remain unseen. So, thank you for joining us again. Um, Hope you've had a good few days in your wherever you happen to be. Thank you for all my colleagues in Spain, Amsterdam, in various parts of the world, um, France, all these individuals who have made use of this time, have made use of this opportunity that we're all going through to really help cultivate themselves and cultivate those around them, and the positive aspect of that. It's so good to hear that. Thank you so much. So we spoke last time we were talking on how, by changing our attitude and perspective, we can change the focus of our reality. We can change, in fact, we can change the nature of our own perception of our reality. So I want to talk today about a number of things. The difference between, first, let's ask the question: what do you think is the most valuable thing you have learned in your life so far? What is the one thing that you feel you have learned is the most important thing in your life? What would that be? And I'd like you to reflect on that. What is the most valuable teaching? So it's about looking at this process of self-reflection of life itself, and it has a magic of its own. It has a huge way. It's based on the science of spirituality, I would say, as expounded by Guru Nanak, um, of the Sikh tradition. And Guru Nanak's teachings are very self-directed. Manajite Jagjit. Know the mind to transcend the mind. Know the mind to win the mind. The mind, the nature of ego, the nature of consciousness, the psychophysiology, it's in clear terms. Then also these states of consciousness, expansion, Sant, the Sa, the Brahmgyani, Gurumukh, Mahapurkh. There are all these different states, Bhagats. Uh, there are all these different states that can be mapped to certain kinds of topology within consciousness. So there's this explosion of self in which the self becomes um, paradoxically non-self. Anyway, so these teachings are highly applicable in terms of our health, because if we are unable to manage our health, now, as you see, what we was anticipating back in May, June, that there will be much disbelief and confusion in the general populace. And we are now in that state where there is much confusion and disbelief. Actually, what is going on? What is real and what is unreal? Um, and some things don't make sense. They are self-contradictory. And the mind, when it cannot make sense of something, it goes into this process of trying to make sense of it. So you go inwards. It like induces a trance, an inner trance. But if you recognize that the confusion is a deliberate attempt of different kinds of information, trying to assimilate all of that, if you recognize the nature of how this confusion is being engaged with, how do you engaging with the circumstances which lead to confusion? So we said many months ago, see everything, hear everything, believe nothing. Believe nothing. We are on the edge now of this next, as we anticipated, September, October, November, December. The winter months have a very different energy that's increasingly more um, difficult from one aspect, but easier from another aspect, because it's all duality. That's the unfolding. So it's the unfolding of one system into the other. So it doesn't necessarily mean that it's black and white. On the contrary, it's a very gradual process, and we are in this process. And this process has started to rattle a lot of illusionary worldviews, layers in academia, layers in the so-called objective science world, layers of looking at certain kinds of worldview, but disregarding everything else. These filtered worldviews that we have been conditioned as humanity are just now about to go pop. And so, as a result, it will lead to many states of despair, hopelessness, agitation, anger, rage, disbelief, shock, like everyone's starting to experience at some degree now as things are unfolding. So it's important to now realize that these um, states can actually be quite harmful for our physiology. So it's doubly important now to bring together things that we have been practicing and learning over the last few months, in which we are bringing together things to do with the mind, things to do with the breath, things to do with the heart, because heart coherence cannot take place without the breath. So the breath is a really important element of this heart. It's in fact three: head, heart, hala. Three areas that we can work with. So the breath allows us to go in, and with sound, it we can actually allow our awareness to go in very different locations within ourselves. This is now the exploration of what it means to be human. We are now at that space. This is the time for sovereignty. This is the time to know your truth, where you stand. This is the time to be able to have the courage to say no where you think something doesn't fit. This is the time now to question your reality. Question your reality, and question it to not to with a preconceived idea of judging it this way or that way. Question your reality. Important to prepare for the changes of reality that can be anticipated under the current circumstances. So remember, circumstances lead to certain actions. You are and I am the subjective experiencer of those circumstances. Our effort can help um, engage us more in the circumstances or disengage us. So, where we invest our focus becomes the quality of our life. Begin to now recognize things that enhance us, things that provide you with creativity, nature outside. Enjoy the autumn um, while we can, for nothing remains the same. Nothing remains the same. So, as we move towards this period of winter months, it's important to be prepared. So, these videos have been looking at preparation. Are we prepared in ourselves? Are we prepared in our minds? Are we able to actually question that the fact that reality for us, normality, has completely been obliterated? And every few days, there's a new restriction, there's a tightness, a squeezing of humanity, a squeezing of humanity. Now, this squeeze has an emotional response. So when we feel threatened, which is exactly where we are, most of us, when we feel threatened and we are reminded of that threat through the mask, through the hand washing, through all the social distancing, blah, 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 6 people can meet, but not if they. It's ridiculous. Some of this stuff is just so questionable. And I feel because it is so questionable and resources are available at the highest level to have the best scientific advice, where is it? Where is this scientific, objective scientific advice? Being called a scientist by name doesn't make you a scientist. Scientists allow us to enable one to see all sides of the equation in order to make an informed choice. So if we can't see, if something doesn't feel right, then it probably isn't right. So it's important to become more intuitive. Listen to yourself. Stop fooling ourselves. Stop fooling ourselves. This will not end well if we maintain the dream that worldview that we have just been extracted from is the worldview that we wish to have as our normality. It's never going to be the same. It never is. And why? Because everything is changing. The time is now. So I came up with this question: what's the most valuable thing that you have learned so far in your life? That you would say, you know what, this is worth passing on to someone else. So I'll share a story with you, which has two different meanings to it, depending on where we look at it. Um, so there is a master who's on his deathbed, and a young monk standing beside him, and she is waiting. She is waiting for her master, and she's trying to comfort the master as the master is in the process of leaving life. And she asks the master, is there any advice you can give me before you go? And with his last few breaths, he says, don't feed the cat. Don't feed the cat. And he dies. The young girl, confused by this, asks the next in line, in lineage, what does this mean? He says, well, when the master was a young monk, he started meditating and slowly began to develop this, cultivate this space where he enjoyed meditation, simply for the joy of meditation. And that has its own magic, and he started progressing in his development. And every so often he'd hear a mouse coming up and distracting his meditation. So he asked his fellow colleagues that there's this mouse that disturbs my meditation. What can I do? So he says, get a cat. So he gets a cat, and the cat then kills the mouse. And every time he opens his eyes, the cat is next to him waiting to be fed. So he asks his friends, what do I do with the cat? It won't leave me alone, and it's always hungry. He says, go and get a cow so you can get some milk, and then you can give it to the cat. The cat's happy. You have no mice. Meditation's good. So this man gets a cow, and now he doesn't know how to milk it. So now he asks, oh, what do I need? He says, well, look, why don't you find someone you can share your life with? And if she can also milk the cow, or he can, then, life is great. You get the cow milked, milk feeds the cat keeps the mice away, meditation's good. Anyway, and soon this young lady, the partner is complaining that she's lonely. He meditates all day. She wants a family. And so he thinks, okay, now I'll have these wants. And then he decided, enough is enough. I need to find solitude. So the teaching, the moral behind that story is, don't feed the cat. Sometimes we have to put up with the annoyances, that are around us, the irritations that are around us, in order not to get engaged. not to feed it, but to realize that your integrity, time to stand alone. So remember last week we spoke about change the mask into your symbolism of being the shaman, of being the healer, of being the one that puts on a mask and goes into another state of consciousness, which allows this consciousness to pour through you, allows it. That's what the mask gives you. Allow the isolation to remind you how grounded you are, how when you stand by yourself, in yourself, the whole stands with you. The whole stands with you. The egos cannot penetrate this space. The egos live in a world of fantasy. This is the space of existence. There's a big difference between here and now and there and then. Okay? So isolation becomes your independence, your sovereignty. And every time you wash your hands, remind yourself you're washing yourself away from all this dirt and corruption. So make your energy, your intent, one that allows creativity, that allows growth, that allows you to be who you are and take control of your sovereign space. But it takes time, but it begins somewhere. So we spoke about um, three things: intention, knowledge, and action. Bringing this kind of triad together. By the way, there's the clue, triad. Okay. So bringing this triad, this trinity together. And if we were to look at this trinity, this trinity is the basis of existence. This is how existence operates. Existence operates from formless through intention, thought, action into form. From formless through that energetic space into form. This is the process of creation. We are at the early stages of understanding this. Guru Nanak explains this. So the teachings of Guru Nanak are applicable in both a scientific way, but also socially reforming. Not because you seek to reform, but by who you become. You allow others to share those qualities and develop those qualities that enable contentment first, meditation, compassion, self-compassion second step. When these two come together, then we begin to have our ethical journey, a journey of our self space. So remember always that you are part of this ocean. You are like a wave. Just think about it. We lost a great master a few months back, Master Jim Bacon. And anyone who would have known him, you would have known that he had an impact on you. Why he was a master is because he lived his trade. He lived his art. So that's why he was a master. Now, today, we find that he's completely disappeared. Apart from the few fragments, everything's gone. No touch, no smell, no nothing, no presence, gone. So you can see how we emerge from the ocean as waves and how we submerge back into the ocean. This is the process of creation and existence. When we talk about creation, this is the process. This is a really important element of recognizing where we're at, because this allows acceptance. And through acceptance, which was sent to me today by Anita in the USA, through acceptance, we empower ourselves. And that's a really powerful understanding, that through acceptance, we empower ourselves. So we are now moving into a space of claiming your sovereignty. And if enough people do that, reality will change. But we can only do what we're capable of. So, with those thoughts, let us now put three things together. Let us put something together in which we bring the mind meaning your thoughts, etc., breath, and heart together, and we combine it with sound, both external sound and internal, to make this whole process coherent. Make this whole process coherent. So, as usual, close your eyes, relax your shoulders, and just loosen your neck a little bit. As you breathe in, move into your body and begin to scan your body. Begin to scan your internal environment, so to speak. See if there's any dominant sensations anywhere, any sensations really, all the way from the forehead, all the way down, lighting up your body from within, using your awareness like a torch. So all you do is just locate, okay? Get the presence of your body. Notice that there is the body, which is the physical body. You can sense perhaps your arms. You can sense your face. And just, if you were to move your focus about 2 inches outwards from your body, and you'll notice you can sense that too. As you breathe in, take your focus to the sensations where your body makes contact with whatever you're sitting on. Now, where those sensations are, allow your awareness to notice how the shape is created by those sensations. Is there a shape to it? Is there a size to it? Is it a diffused kind of sensation? Just notice the quality of the sensation. And as you breathe in, bring your focus up towards your hips. From your hips, move it down to your thighs. From your knees, move it down to your ankles. Notice your feet. Notice the soles of your feet. Bring your focus back to whatever you're sitting on. And as you breathe in, notice how grounded you are. Embedded in the moment of now, in this moment. You're not in the past, you're not in the future, you only exist and can exist in the present. And the location. So you're surrounded by air, you're surrounded by space, the ground holds you, the air allows you to breathe, and the space allows you to have a physical form. Notice how you're embedded in this space of here, wherever here is for you. Now move your focus to your lower back. Scan, notice any sensations. As you breathe in, move your focus to your middle back. Scan, notice the sensations. Next breath in, bring it up to your shoulder blades. Move your focus to your shoulders. As you breathe out, move your focus down to your elbows. From your elbows to your wrists. Notice the palms of your hands. Notice the fingers on your hands. Bring your focus to the back of your neck. Pull your chin in. Notice the back of the neck stretching. Move your focus to your eyes. Notice the darkness. Notice the fact that you have awareness of darkness. That you are aware that your eyes are closed and you're conscious of darkness. And now this awareness, notice that you can bring it back all the way back to the back of your head. So you can become aware of the back of your head. Move your focus to your tongue. Not tight or loose. Allow it to soften. What are you doing? And if your mind is running away, or voice, is observing it. No judgment. On your next breath out, begin to now notice that you can either look for the sounds, but allow the sounds to come to you. Act like a receiver. Open to the sounds that are close to you. Open to the sounds that are further away. Allow this awareness to follow the sound of this bell as best as you can. Hold your focus. Hold your focus. When you're ready, gently bring your focus just beneath your nose and begin to notice the movement of your breath. Now your focus, your commitment is simply to hold your focus beneath your nose with a little bit of effort to begin with. Stay with your breath. If you find that your focus has been distracted from your breath by a thought, a story you're telling yourself, something you're thinking, or a sound, or a sensation, notice the distraction, come back to your breath. Notice how the breath breathes by itself. Allow it to breathe by itself. No need to control it, no need to manipulate it. Simply allow. Allow yourself to let go. Stay with your breath. Or should I say, stay with the breath. Notice that the breath comes in, there's a tiny little gap. The breath goes out, there's a tiny little gap. A pause on either side of your breath. See if you can notice the pause on either side of your breath. Pause before the breath comes in. Pause at the end of the breath. Then a pause as you breathe out. Pause at its end. The two parts of your breath. Follow your out breath all the way till the end. Follow your out breath all the way till the end. And see if you can notice the gap at the end of your breath. Allow the breath to take you deeper and deeper into this moment. Stay with your breath. Notice the gap at the end of your out breath. Notice the gap at the end of your out breath. Notice how you're breathing now. How does your breath feel? Does your breath feel fast or does it feel slow? Does the breath feel long or does it feel short? Does the breath feel smooth or does it feel rough? All these qualities of your breath. Does your breath feel warm or does it feel cold? Does your breath feel warm or does it feel cold? Stay with that. Does your breath feel warm or does it feel cold? And now bring your focus to the sound of your breath. This organic sound of your breath. Notice the sound as the breath comes in. Notice the sound as the breath goes out. Notice the sound of your breath. Notice the sound of your breath. Very gently in our mind, as we breathe in, we say the sound so, and as we breathe out, we say the sound hum. So, hum. So, hum. Reciting these two sounds within our mind, listening to them, synchronizing it with our breath. So on the breath in, hum on the breath out. So on the breath in, hum on the breath out. All the while listening to it. Now gently begin to lower the volume within yourself of the soul as it comes in and the hum as it goes out, listening to it. Allowing every breath to gradually allow this tone, this sound within you to lower its volume, its internal volume. Listening to it all the while. Listening. Now allow yourself to listen to the sound of this bell. Still listening. Still listening. And allow yourself to completely let go and immerse yourself in the silence at the end of the bell. Take a moment to acknowledge and appreciate your experience. Notice your experience, notice how you feel. Notice your timelessness. Notice your agelessness. Notice that the awareness is unchanging while all around you is changing. Notice there is no fear, no hate. You are the gate of the source deep within ourselves. Unchanging, formless, in a state of peace and presence. It is about noticing the presence, not about being present. That's just the first step. The presence that you are, the presence that you radiate, the presence that's this continuous light. Know your independence, know your magic, Know that you are the light. Gently bring your focus just beneath your nose. Notice how you're breathing. Bring your focus to your body. Notice you're still sitting in the same space. Notice you have sensations. Where you sit, you have sensations that go down your legs all the way down to your feet. You can sense your legs all the way down to your feet. Allow yourself to do that. Notice your back is straight and upright, as are your shoulders, arms, and hands, relaxed and comfortable. Your eyes are still closed, your mouth is still closed, your face is relaxed. Allow the breath to breathe by itself. As you breathe in, you become more aware of your body. As you breathe out, you can sense your body. Breathing in, you sense your body. Breathing out, you sense your body. Breathing in, you can sense your body. Breathing out, you can sense your body. Begin to take slightly deeper breaths. Allowing each next breath just to get a bit more deeper. When you hear the next bell, use this bell to draw a few more deep breaths and in your own good time, gently coming back. Hope you enjoyed today's session. Gratitude is the light that allows one to light the path. Showing gratitude, appreciation for all the small things allow us to appreciate the big things. Focus on gratitude changes our quality of life. May you be happy, may you be healthy, may you be peaceful, may you be safe. I hope to see you next week. Hope to see you next. So look after yourself, but know that you are looked after. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.